Hello everyone and welcome. Here's the effect that we will be creating. Now to achieve this effect I am using After Effects on Windows along with Mocha built into After Effects, and for all the special effects I am using elements from the Action Essentials 2 pack you can get from videocopilot.com. We have the footage here, so first thing is first we are going to track the footage. So click on your footage, go to animation, and track in Mocha AE. Click on that, that will open up Mocha. And let's name it Gunshot. There we go. Great. Now go up here and go to your X spline layer tool. Click on that. And then click around the face. There we are. Then go down here and click on track forwards. So you notice towards the end that it's going to cut off there because the subject falls out of frame, but that is okay, we got what we needed. So click on export tracking data and then copy to clipboard. Great. Let's go back into After Effects and go to Layer, New, Null Object. Be sure you are on the first frame here. Then hit Control V and you would paste your tracking data to that null object. Great. So we got the most important bit down. Now let's start with the flesh wound image. Now we're using the Action Essentials 2 pack here. So we're using the flesh wound image and the blood burst, both from Action Essentials 2. So let's take our flesh wound and we can drag it on top of the footage. So now let's go ahead and see if we can pinpoint the moment that bullet strike hits, and it's going to be right here, it looks like. So if you, well, since it's just the image, you can hit Alt left bracket and kind of cut that image down a little shorter. And now let's see where we want to place it. I want to put it above, pretty much, I would say right here in the forehead. And maybe scale that down just a little bit, right about there. Looks good. Great. Now we gotta go to our lasso tool here. Click and drag it over to the null object. Remember, that's what all the motion tracking data is. And now that is tracked to the null object that has the motion data, if we play forward, we will see that it's tracked to the forehead. But it's a little funny right now, so we do have to tweak it a little bit. So let's go ahead a couple frames. Okay. So we see he tilts the head back. So what we're going to do here, let's start here. Go to your flesh wound and we're going to turn it into a 3D object so that we can manipulate it a little better. So let's enable 3D here. Great. And if you do not see these options here to enable 3D, click on the toggle switches down here, bring that up. So now we have 3D. Let's make this to a 3D layer. Great. Now it's a 3D layer. Let's set a keyframe for the X rotation. Start at the beginning. And then let's see when it starts to turn back. Pretty much right about there. It's a bit extreme. So take the X rotation and then turn it back a little bit to kind of match up with the subject. And because I made a keyframe, it will start off flat, and as we go, it will eventually get to that point. So let's keep scrubbing through and then adjust the X rotation accordingly. So here we see the object kind of falls off a little bit. So let's go to the last frame where it will appear, which is pretty much right about there. And with the flesh wound selected, okay, now hold down Alt right bracket, and that will cut it. I might have to trim it a little bit more. And there you have it. So now it won't hang there, but there's a bit of a problem here, as you can see. So the object that we're tracking is blurry, but the bullet wound is not. So it's a bit of a jarring effect, and it doesn't match up very well. So what you can do is enable motion blur here, just like you did with the 3D layer, and then enable motion blur on the object you want with that's blurry, which is going to be the flesh wound. Click on that, and now you see here, anytime it moves, it gets blurry, and that helps sell the effect. Great, but that doesn't really do anything by itself. So here we have the blood burst effect from Action Essentials 2 as well. So let's drag and drop that on top. There we are. And let's go begin to start the keyframe. Let's drag that over. And let's put that right on top. Make sure that your blood burst effect is above the flesh wound. Otherwise, it will show up below the bullet hole. So make sure it's on top of the bullet hole. Tone version bloater. Back on for that. Let's drag that down. Let's scale that up. You can have your object selected. Hit S on the keyboard, and feel free to scale that up. Make it a somewhat big blood burst effect. There we are. Great. I think that looks pretty good. And if you want, you can add motion blur to that blood if you want. You can leave it like that if you want, but I like to make my blood a little darker. I feel that looks more realistic. So go up to Effect with the blood layer selected, go to Effect, Color Correction, and Curves. With the RGB channel selected, go ahead and drag that down. And you see the blood does get darker as well. Okay, so now to add an extra layer of depth here, we're going to take the Cork Hit number 3 from Action Essentials 2 as well. We're going to take that and drag that onto our comp. And we're going to time it up just right. There we go. Now you'll notice here that it doesn't match up with the color to the blood. With our Cork Hit layer selected, we're going up to Effect, Color Correction, and Tint. Great. So with Map White 2, click this little eyedropper tool and select the red from the blood effect. And now you will see that they are the same color if you want a better idea. So you see what this Cork effect does here. It kind of adds an extra layer, like a little bit more detail. It could be like bloody flesh exploding from the wound. Great. Let's turn that blood burst effect back on. And that Cork Hit, if you want, once again, lasso tool, parent it to the null object. Great. Let's play that back. Great, and that concludes this tutorial. And if you did like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, where I'll be releasing more videos like this and movies as well. Thanks for watching.